Got some bad memories you want to get rid of? Well, in the world of Wantless, there is a solution to that. Actually, we are the solution. As some kind of mind doctor, we jump into our patients' heads and erase their memories, and have to face their worst nightmares and battle them in turn-based combat. Wantless is being created by Drop Rate Studio and will be published by Twin Sails Interactive. And while there's no release date yet, on the 26th of January they released a demo version which is free to download for everyone on Steam. Using that demo, I will give you a quick overview of what to expect from the game, including the story, the game and character system, and the combat mechanics. And that's our first stop. Let's jump right into it. And here we are in some combat area and we can see rot. Toxic thoughts hidden rather than dealt with. They're still in there, silently rotting, growing in your brain. Alright, and we are supposed to kill them and clear this zone in order to advance and kill some final boss. And besides of these enemies, you can also see some gloomy impulse, which we can push around, make it explode, and kill enemies at the same time. And we can also see some nostalgic memories and we are supposed to rescue them. They give some bonuses and if they get destroyed, then something bad is going to happen. The level will become, or this area here will become unstable, and then some negative effects will come up. Now the interesting thing about the combat here is that you can see on the right side there is some white and some bluish bar, 0, 0. And only when we do some activity, they get action points which they can use. So the key is to use your action points in the most efficient way. So I just moved one step, right? So they got one action point. So if I just moved forward and backward all the time, then they would have much more action points. I didn't do anything in that turn, but they would have all the action points in the world to then kill me. So the idea is that I need to use my action points as efficiently as possible. And you can see that in the bottom I've got my action bar, and I can actually put these skills together myself, but we will get to that in a bit. And now I'm using this skill to get some distance, or close up some distance and attack the enemy at the same time. And this was also some kind of explosive enemy, so we took some damage with that. Some is unavoidable. Let's go to this memory here and collect that. That also takes one action point. Alright, we took another 100 damage for going through this foul ground. Let's take that memory. And we have got 2 action points left, which is enough, fortunately, to kill that guy. Not by... well, we can actually not attack diagonally, but we can use this ability here. And this is enough to kill it. And with that, we can end our turn, and now they will be able to use their action points. Well, they will probably jump to us and... maybe have some ranged attacks here. Taint, yes, did some poison. You can see that in the bottom here. So obviously these are our health points. And on the right side we have some awareness and a bar for awareness. And if this bar here is getting full, we can use that to use some, well, special abilities like this one. When you are crafting abilities, you can also set them in a way that they use this resource rather than, for example, more discipline, or maybe they can use some, they are better in some other stuff. Discipline is basically like in Shadowrun, you have this value, like how many implants you can have. And this is the same here, just how many spells you can carry and how strong these spells are. By the way, this is some pot which will, I think, just create additional monsters. So we should try and kill that as soon as possible. So let's jump over there. Actually, I've got one skill where I can move. Okay, I can move and heal myself at the same time, but I can't really use that, or I would need to use another 2 points to get that. That was my goal, to destroy that. And now, well, we can move over to the enemy, but I don't see much of a reason to do that. So instead, let's just heal ourselves and end the turn. And now they will, of course, get back to me. And hopefully they don't have any AoE attack to destroy that thing. That would be problematic. Now, there is a problem right now, so you can see that it's a lot of planning ahead of what is going to happen in the next turn. However, the issue is at the moment that you cannot see which abilities the enemies have. When you encounter them the very first time, it will show you which abilities they can use, but you only get a text. And unfortunately, well, even with that text, you don't know what the text is doing, and you cannot read it retroactively. So you have to kind of observe what enemies are doing and keep that in mind for further battles. And that's kind of a problem. The developers are aware of that, and they will fix that in the future. So this map here is done, but one run into the mind of some patient is requiring multiple of these maps. And so we can choose now if we want to get a reward, like just a trinket, which we get out of like at the end in our total rewards section, or we can decide to recover. And that will, of course, help us with the next battle. And this next battle, you can see that from this symbol here, is actually a boss fight. It can vary a bit, like how long such a run will take. But I would say usually one run, depending on how long you take for planning a turn or something like that, you might take like 20 to 30 minutes for one run getting into one patient's head. On the left side, you can also see the commitment. In this game, you cannot load and save freely. So at the moment, the game is saving in between these runs, basically. When you go into a dungeon, you raise this commitment bar, and this will give you additional rewards. And one of the rewards you can see here is a doubled reputation earnings. And the reputation is actually the thing which is what you're earning or losing in total. That means that even if you die, you get all the stuff you collect in this dungeon, you get that out of the dungeon and you can continue playing. So there is no setback in that way. However, you will lose reputation. So you should, of course, try to do missions where you also get some positive reputation, as in the end, that's the total progress of the game. But I will show you more regarding the reputation later. It's just important to keep in mind that this bar will help you gain reputation and, of course, other rewards, and these crystals you can see on the right, which is a currency to buy better items. Now let's go to the final boss, and you can see with the final boss that these are the different abilities this boss has. I didn't encounter that one before, so you get a little description here, which you can see later on, but you cannot see it betrays allies for power, range damage, and pushy. So I guess there's no reason to stay away from that enemy, and I think we would need to kill it as quickly as possible. So let's try and go to that enemy. And the interesting thing I wanted to mention is that these bosses really have phases. They work like, well, you could say like your MMO bosses or so. They you really need to think about what to do in each phase, or if you want to call it like that. Sometimes they have phases, sometimes they project damage and you need to get out of that. But let's see what this enemy is doing. I have no idea yet. So it would be a good idea to do some damage with that teleportation spell. And let's teleport right there. And you can see that we actually did quite a bit of damage, down to 501 already. Now, we can use this spell now, because we have some awareness. We can use that for additional damage. Of course, the teleportation is of no use at this moment. The alternative we can do is, you maybe have seen this explosive thing, that we can actually push the enemy towards this explosion, and this will make a lot of damage. So let's do that. Push the enemy, and it exploded, and it took quite some damage. Next turn. And, oh, it ported back to us. And, well, this seemed to be rather harmless, to be honest, but we are on fiery ground, and we will lose 10% of our max HP each turn. Alright, we should probably move away from that. We could push the enemy in that direction now, but that's kind of pointless. So let's just try and do as much damage as possible. By the way, this is a kind of an easy patient I'm working on now. So you can have it more difficult depending on what job you select. So let's port over there. And there's only 133 left, and with just 2 standard attacks. Oh, no, maybe that's not enough. So, yeah, we will just do another attack, but this, of course, will not kill it. We also have some enemy around here now. This is also a ranged nightmare thingy. A lesser strife. Dreams given up. Battles that should have been fought. If no closure, no peace, defending causes long forgotten. Okay. Let's push. No, let's just hit that enemy and do, well, 60 damage. Okay, we got shot by this guy. He can actually shoot us a couple of times now, because we used quite some action points this turn. Betrayal. Alright. Now it goes berserk. Alright. That's kind of dangerous. Okay. Oh, and it stopped. Alright. Okay, we might want to heal ourselves now if we are unable to kill the enemy within that turn. And I think we are unable. No, we can actually... We have 3 more attacks, right? So that's just enough to kill it. And with that... we finished this mission, and now we will get into the reward screen, where we can see, well, what rewards we got, like this commitment. We got these 2 shards, but we can also select some items, and I will get to what these means later on. This is some stuff we found within the mission, and we get some level or XP in this case. Alright. And now you can see that we got some reputation in Selous. And Selous is a region. And we just managed, with our reputation, to get to the tolerated ranking. And now it's day 10. This is some kind of our, well, secretary, or it's some person working for us. And well played, alright. Let me quickly go into the patients room here. We can select a new mission now, and you can kind of select what items would be best if we did that mission to upgrade our character. But of course, these mean nothing to you now, and we can choose 2 when we finish that mission. We can select, or we can see what difficulty this is, what mind realm that is, and which is kind of a different set of graphics, and also different enemy types and so on. And about these different types of items, I will get to that in just a bit. But just that you see, there are different, well, in this case, manageable and challenging, and they have a transposition length, so the total length of the mission. And you can see that the items also have different rarities. Now let's go over to the gear, and over here you can see what items we are wearing, like what damage we do with our standard attack. These ankhs are basically that when you die within a mission, you can use an ankh and later on you can then use an Ankh and awareness to get back to health, and you get kind of a free movement, which will really help in some situations. In the bottom you can see all our active abilities, and each ability will take up some of this discipline. So we only have a maximum amount of 2500, and let's say if I unequip this ability, I have some more left, right? So I can't create this uber spell and then just rule everything, but yeah, there is some wiggle room. You can see that 1/3 or so is still empty here. We have this gear, which is the the equipment we've got on ourselves, and we've got the spells. And we can buy both in the shop, and after each day, after each mission, we get new equipment in the shop. We can build new or buy new components for our spells, and of course get new equipment. Like this one seems to be really good, so let's go back to the gear section. This one is fine. Actually, we got some new stuff during the last as a reward. And let's unequip that and use that or something like that, right? And now let's get into the Neural Forge. And over here we can put together our skills. And this is consisting of 3 components: the form, effect, and efficiency. So the form is basically telling us, I'm going to quickly just disassemble a spell. You can also do that at any time. Well, any time outside of missions. You can see where this effect is actually applied. So this is a very close-up AoE, and this one is an AoE in the distance, which of course is the coolest. But you can also see that if we use that, then the spell has to have a cooldown of at least 1 turn. So you can also not create skills which just have no cooldown if they are super powerful. But in any case, let's take that. Now next up we need to select 1 or 2 effects. So that's kind of a healing spell, but we can also just do a plain AoE ranged damage spell, right? So for example, we take this one, and now we are doing grief damage in this range of, well, 2 to 5 tiles, and it's kind of, well, it's an AoE effect over there. But we can also do poison at the same time. This will increase the discipline cost of that spell, but maybe it's worth it. Now, there is no additional cooldown limitation on that one, so we can, in theory, still go with just 1 turn cooldown. And this one would be excellent, but that is already in use with another spell. We can look in the shop. Maybe there's something really cool over here, but there's not. So back to the Neural Forge, and we will use this 2/2 instead. And now if something wasn't working, you can also see a demonstration on the bottom right, which is really cool. And if something was not working, it would actually tell you. So for example, if you use 2 damage spells like this, you get a warning that slotting multiple hit damage synapses together reduces the individual damage output. So we should probably not do that and instead do this poison damage instead. Alright, let's create that. And now, of course, we can equip that spell. And besides of this stuff, the equipment, we can also expand our skills with this kind of, well, skill tree, mind tree it's called here. And you can see that I already expanded a bit in the top right direction. These small things give little bonuses, and these bigger things, well, you guessed it, give bigger bonuses. These are a bit like directions you go into, like this is into movement. I think the bottom left was to, yeah, it's dots, and this was awareness, so that you can use more powerful spells with that awareness stuff. I didn't find these too interesting so far. They are all just very small percentage values, so I hope that they will change a little bit here. But in general, of course, it's nice to also have some additional option to to progress with your character. You can also see on the top, it's not implemented yet, but there is some engineering button, and I guess we can expand on our ship then later on. And now we can go back to the hub. This is our ship, right? And the different rooms, like we can go into the shop, and so it's basically the same as the menus on the top. But one thing I didn't show you yet is this map. And now you can see that we have a tolerated reputation here, and you can also see that we have one unique patient here, because the game is not just about fighting, there's also some story in the game. We are going with our ship from location to location, right? But in each location there is a unique patient, and that patient has some kind of story for us. But in order to talk to this patient, we need to be on a trusted level here. And the very first patient is Moral, the excited traveler, and he is actually, well, kind of tired of life, and he wants to go to sleep. Yeah, escape all the trouble of life and just sleep forever. So yeah, it's a bit depressing, and well, the whole world is depressing. So if you have problems with that, then the game is probably not for you. We are trying to talk him out of that, but what is there even to consider? Well, it's a one-way ticket. If once you're asleep, you will never be awake again. But he insists, he wants to go to sleep, and so well, we get paid for doing our job there. So well, let's go into his mind, but we can now see that something seems to be wrong. We can see that in the top right, there's some gibberish. What is going on? And also, something feels off, Pam. So our contact is not reachable anymore. Something is wrong here. Let's go into the next area. And by the way, this is also something which is going to be changed on the release version, like how you select the next map. I'm not sure how this is going to be, but the developer said that this will change. And here, this is also kind of uncommon that there's nothing in there, but this is a special mission. And here we are already getting to the boss. And yeah, there's something going on here. You see the screen flickering, something is off. And there's some weird guy there. Infirm spirits draw each other, burning moths to dying flames. And he vanishes. And now we have some boss battle against this weird creature here, Abaddon. Alright, so we can try and port to him, do some damage, and kill him, but we will not do that in this preview. If you're interested in what will happen after you killed this guy, then make sure to try out this demo version yourself. You can download it for free on Steam, just to give a little glimpse into what we are doing in the world. So this guy has some kind of allergic reaction about what we are doing, and so we are going to find out why this is happening, and this is the reason why we are traveling from location to location, trying to find hints about what is happening there and if there's something brewing up. So if you're interested, then make sure to wishlist the game Wantless by Drop Rate Studio, and Twin Sales Interactive will be released at some point. No release date given yet. Maybe it's 2023, maybe it's 2024. Still probably a lot of stuff to do, but well, it looks interesting so far. The combat mechanics are interesting. A very nice turn-based, tactical, combat-focused game. And I hope I have been able to give you a good overview. And if that's the case, then feel free to leave a like or a subscription. And with that, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.